That's something that just won't happen. We're now about 7 years into the use of LRO as a pricing tool. It really has permeated our business from the top to the bottom. So it's used, day to day by the properties for their pricing decisions, and it's used, I'll say, at least quarterly by our top management, our chairman, to assess, how we're doing and to weigh in on our pricing strategy. And frankly, it's just the way we do business today.
We started using LRO about 2 years ago and rolled out to over 22,000 units and 75 properties. And having shifted to an automated process, we would not want to go back to a manual process at this point. There's been a lot of buy-in from the properties, and it's well received by all levels of management.
The number one benefit is the visibility, the control, the central control, and more importantly, a disciplined process. With a centralized pricing group, we have schedules, we have to-do lists, everyone plays a role in the process, and it's a collaboration of reality. I call it where data meets reality. And sometimes data tells one part of the story, but you have to match that up with reality in some of these markets. And I think working together with field and a centralized pricing group, that allows you to optimize your results.
Well, we've seen a pretty compelling lift in revenue at our pilot communities versus the control communities. We've had a pretty extensive pilot in place, and in order to ensure that it wasn't just a seasonal spike, we've really watched these for 14, 15, 16 months now. We've seen LRO take us through various business cycles, various levels of seasonality, and consistently at most of the communities where we've piloted, the pilot communities have outperformed the control communities. The control communities are an example of the way that we have historically priced. And the pilot communities with LRO have definitely shown us that there's money to be made incrementally with small steps, small consistent movements in rent up and down in order to maximize net rental revenue.
I think Simpson Housing would never go back to manual pricing. We've really gotten used to the system and how it works and the results that we've achieved from it. We've seen success, and nobody would want to backtrack on that. Initially what we saw was we had a test pilot and a control property, and we compared the one with the test pilot with LRO versus the control property, which was manual pricing. We saw 3 to 5% lifts over the control property, so we found it to be very successful. When we adopted LRO over the years, what we've seen is, compared to the markets that we're in, we've performed favorably on revenue growth, and that's been a big success for us, and we see continued success.
No, we would not want to go back to pricing the old way. The obvious benefits of pricing, through a yield management solution is, obviously the results that you get from fine-tuning your pricing based on market information, but also beyond that, you get you have the benefit of having direct control over your pricing. Your corporate now has a clear view into your pricing model and can direct very quickly changes into your pricing model, either portfolio-wide, regional, or at a property level.
Okay, so would we ever go back to pricing the old way? God, no. We've been doing it for 7 years, and I just can't imagine going back to the manual process. All the extra work, all the extra hassle, and frankly, the lack of transparency and lack of faith in whether people even make the right decisions. So, just couldn't imagine going back.
No, now that we're on revenue management, there's no way we would ever go back. It's shown its benefit, not only in the price that we're having, but the business practices that we've put in place. So it would be, I think, not necessarily disastrous, but a bad decision to go back. We never would.
After using revenue management now for a couple of years, I can't say that we'd ever go back to an old manual way of doing pricing. We found it to be just not as effective, and not as in terms of time or results.